Good morning, everybody. Ted Haggard here from St. James Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Hey, I'll tell you what, we have been talking about Matthew 25 for the last several weeks around here, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful chapter. And so today and next week and the following week, we're going to be talking about Matthew 25, partially because this chapter highly influences both the Democratic and Republican parties here in America. Of course, a lot of evangelicals are Republicans, and Nancy Pelosi, and you remember Ted Kennedy, those of you that are my age, for those two, their favorite chapters, from what I understand, is Matthew 25. So very often when people challenge them on some of their liberal policies, they'll use Matthew 25 as an excuse. And rumor has it that Nancy Pelosi receives communion every day. And so it's very interesting because I can't align her faith with her politics so many times. And I'm much more conservative than she is. And so, but I know that this chapter impacts people all over the world in a powerful way. So let's talk about it a little bit. The first story is the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. Let me give you a little bit of a background. During this time when Jesus lived, people, when they were going to get married, did not go on a honeymoon after the wedding or anything like that. What they did is they celebrated there in their hometown for a week. All right. And prior to the wedding, the bride would be all prepared and be being taken care of by her bridesmaids. And sometimes they would wait days. They had no idea if the groom was going to come in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night. So they had a responsibility to always be prepared, to just ready to go at any time. Now, here was the trick of it. During this time also, no one was allowed to be outside at night without a lantern. And you had to have light, and typically they were in groups. And because, of course, they didn't have police forces the way we do today and things like that. And so it was a whole different setting. The bridesmaids were there to keep the bride prepared. They had to be prepared because it could be day or night when the groom would come. And then the groom would come, they would have the ceremony, and then they would have a 1-week celebration in their new home. And the entire city would be involved. If it was a village, certainly the entire village. The majority of a city, if it was larger, would be involved. It was just a big, big event. And they considered that 1 week of celebration, when family would come, friends would come, neighbors would come, acquaintances would come. That 1 week of celebration was considered the best week of their lives. And so to go to that celebration was a huge, huge deal for everyone in the community to celebrate this birthing new family. And so when you understand no one was allowed in the streets after dark without light, and the different cultural things going on there, this story makes a lot more sense. Let's read it right quick. Matthew 25, I'm reading from the New Living Translation. It says, "Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The 5 who were foolish didn't take enough olive oil for their lamps, but the other 5 were wise enough to take along extra oil. When the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and they fell asleep. At midnight, they were roused by the shout, 'Look, the bridegroom is coming. Come out and meet him.' All the bridesmaids got up and prepared their lamps. Then the five foolish ones asked the others, 'Please give us some of your oil because our lamps are going out.' But the others replied, 'We don't have enough for all of us. Go and shop and buy some for yourselves.' But while they were gone to buy oil, the bridegroom came. Then those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was locked. Later, when the other 5 bridesmaids returned, they stood outside calling, 'Lord, Lord, open the door.' But he called back, 'Believe me, I don't know you. So you too must keep watch, for you do not know the day or the hour of my return.' Now, this is very interesting. It obviously says that those who say they know when Jesus is coming back, they don't know. And he is going to come. And when he comes back, we need to be prepared. And I think that is the primary function of all of us here on the earth, to make a fundamental decision. Is Jesus Christ Lord of our life? Or are we the Lord of our own lives? Or is the devil the Lord of our lives? Or is our culture the Lord of our lives? Or is popularity the Lord of our lives? Or is Christ the Lord of our life? All right. And so every one of us get to decide that. I've decided a long, long time ago that Christ is the Lord of my life, not people who say things, not people who make up things, not people who fantasize things, not people who get a suspicion about things or whatever. Jesus is my Lord. So he determines how I feel. He determines how I live. He determines all those different things. Okay, so what are the lessons here? The lessons, I think, are twofold major lessons. Okay, one of the lessons is that, hold on just 1 minute, just 1 minute. Oh, there, I've got the right notes. Okay, one of them is it warns us that there are certain things which cannot be obtained at the last minute. If your house catches on fire, you can't call the insurance agent and buy fire insurance. If it's raining and flooding, you can't call an insurance agent and buy flood insurance. If you're driving down the road and you see yourself getting ready to be in an accident because of snow or water or whatever, you can't call your automobile insurance agent and buy automobile insurance right then. You can't develop character when character is needed. You've got to decide about character issues before character is needed. For instance, you have to decide, are you going to steal? Are you going to be immoral? Are you going to be dishonest? Are you going to be helpful to people or hurtful to people? Do you really know everything? Or could it be that some people know things you don't know? We make fundamental decisions about whether we have to be a know-it-all or not, whether or not when we need an expert, should we hire one? I know some guys who won't hire an electrician because they can go to Home Depot or they can watch a YouTube video and figure it out and do it themselves. Well, good luck with that. I've been in churches where they use all volunteer help to get things done around the church to try to save money. I don't think it's worth it. I say, if you need a professional, hire a professional. That's why back when we had a great big staff, I didn't dabble in their departments because I trusted that each of them had an expertise that I did not have. And then we as a team would be a better team. See, and so if you want to be a man of character or a woman of character, what decisions do you have to make now so that when an opportunity comes to not have character, you've already made the decision, you're not going to do it. I always say, right now, everybody's having to make so many decisions. Little elementary school kids are having to decide if they're really a boy or a girl. I think if you believe the Bible, you don't have to make as many decisions. I don't make a lot of decisions every day. I drive down the street. I see a liquor store. I have no decision about whether I should pull in there or not. I drive down the street and I see other businesses that just don't fit my lifestyle. It's just no temptation. I made a lot of those decisions between 18 and 21 or 22. And once you make a decision to follow the word of God, like for instance, I made a decision. I really like George Washington Carver's quote, "I will never let another man ruin my life by making me hate him." Okay, so I don't have to make a decision about whether I'm going to hate people that hate me, because I'm not going to, because it's just a decision, a character decision I made a long time ago. So the people that have hurt or disappointed us the most, if they came to the door right now and needed something, I'd be happy to help them. I would greet them earnestly and kindly. I just don't hold grudges. I'm not a stamp collector. I don't do that. And now, it doesn't mean I'm naive. It doesn't mean I'm stupid. It means I've made certain decisions in advance. I made a decision when I was flying all over the world and doing a lot of activities that we're involved with, religious groups all over the world and politicians all over the world. I made a decision about what I would do if my kids were ever kidnapped. And I met with all the kids and I said, we can't let human beings leverage our love for one another. And so please know that if any of us are ever kidnapped, don't do anything for ransom because we're all heaven bound. And so that removed immediately any anxiety about security for my family. And so you make decisions in advance about what you're going to do. We have a handicapped son. We made a decision when we found out he was a special needs child that he was our son. He was our responsibility. He is not the responsibility of the government. Now, we appreciate everything the government does and has done for us and our special needs son, but we're grateful for it. We're not demanding. We're not entitled. We are his parents. And so we are responsible. I appreciate a lot of the things that go on around us. I appreciate the way the city electricity system works. I appreciate the way the city water and septic systems work because I made a fundamental decision. I'm responsible for my life. And if other people do things to make it convenient for me, I appreciate it. I'm grateful. All right. So this says that this says it warns us there are certain things that cannot be obtained at the last minute. And so prepare, look ahead. All right. And so then number 2 is it warns us that there are certain things that cannot be borrowed. All right. So if your mother's a praying person and you're not a praying person, listen, your mother's prayers will be a blessing to you. And it's a wonderful thing you can be grateful for. But that doesn't replace your own prayers. If you save, other people saving, like for instance, okay, thank God for the Social Security system. It's helped so many people. But if you think the Social Security system is going to take care of you from the time you're 66 and a half until you die, it will. You won't starve to death, but you also won't be comfortable. All right. So plan ahead because you can't borrow from other people the most important things in life. You can't borrow relationships. People don't owe you a friendly relationship. You are responsible to build those. People don't owe you courtesy. You owe people courtesy. See, and so when people are rude to me, I act like I don't notice. And it comes across like I'm naive or maybe stoned, but I'm neither. I realize they're being rude. I'm thinking to myself, where is their mother? But I always, or at least try to always, respond with courtesy because they're not my Lord. So if they're rude to me, that does not determine my life. Jesus does. You see, and that's his point here. And that's what he's driving for every one of us. So just trust the Lord for your future. Trust the Lord for your life. Obtain the things now that you need to obtain. Keep your oil full. In other words, be filled with the Holy Spirit and know other people don't owe us. And we can't count on borrowing from other people all the time. We need to be in a position where we accumulate things and live thoughtfully and plan ahead. And he's saying that specifically about our relationship with him. Okay, that's enough for this week. God bless you. You have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.